And 3, 2, 1. Welcome to another edition of Indian Cine-MANIACs.
Boring ass.
What's going on, Maniacs?
Hey, Ralphie.
Hello.
What's up,
Yeah,
Ralph?
I think we have to shorten our name. That's the other
That's
thing.
what people are saying. It'll help our viewers. I don't get it. I don't know why the name would make a difference.
It's hard to search Yippee-Ki-Yay Mother Podcast. That's
true.
Why. So
anyway. A lot of different ways to spell that too.
All right, let's get right into the film we're going to talk about right now. Hi, everybody. Everybody good?
So,
everybody good?
Well, this is off the viewer wheel, right?
13B, Fear Has a New Address, and it was the worst movie we've watched since we started the podcast. Anything else?
Big take. I think we're done.
Can I read?
Yeah, please read
okay.
who brought it and give us
well,
the description.
I think he's going to be a little disappointed since Drew kind of let the cat out of his bag.
Sounds like
this was, it's 13B, Fear Has a New Address, or Yavaram Nalam was the actual name of it. It's this was recommended by Skyber Avatar 4977, who we've watched another recommendation of him. He actually had a pretty good write-up. Here we go. I like the way it starts. Hey, Cine-MANIACs. It's now time for you guys to watch another good Bollywood horror film. Hence, for next viewer wheel, I suggest the movie 13B, Fear Has a New Address, 2009. I usually don't like horror films, but 13B really surprised me and kept me very interested. Just like Tumbad, 13B stars R. Madhaven in lead, whom you saw in 3 Idiots and other films. So I'll let someone else talk about it. I did it last week, so if someone else wants to. Drew, why don't you talk about it since you kind of already gave your opinion of it?
Okay, well, this movie is about a guy who moves with his extended family into an apartment building, and then allegedly frightening things start happening that are confusing. And it turns out that there's stuff that would be in a better movie genuinely unsettling, like a television show that's only running in your house that shows what's happening in your life. Like, that's kind of cool. And stuff with ghosts and specters, and maybe there's a connection between his family and what they're seeing on television and a murder long ago. And it's 2.5 hours of, it's so bad. The camera work and the music and the acting isn't terrible. There's some people in it that I like, but if you're not sure what the emotion is that they're expressing, the camera will go in and out and be on angles. And it was so, I don't even know if it's amateurish, because I think it knew what it was doing. I just don't like any of the storytelling choices that it made. And it is funny. I think Kareena Kapoor maybe was going to be the wife, the female lead. Yeah. So that would have been a little bit different. But the only thing I'm unabashedly can say that hey, that was good is some of the performances. They have a good cast. Not all of them, but some of them. And I thought the dog was nice.
Yeah, I guess we have no problem criticizing. I love that. Yeah, it was to me it was I understand the camera angles and stuff. They were purposeful. There was just too much of it. Like, they knew what they were doing, but they just used it too much. It's like a Black Mirror episode or bad Twilight Zone episode. I've seen this episode many, many times. Now, maybe they copied this. I doubt it, but yeah, and you mentioned the murder, or the fact that this family somehow related to the murder. We don't learn that for 2.5, almost 2 hours and 40 minutes until the reveal happens about who is perpetrating whoever did the actual murders. But we didn't know.
Yeah, it feels much longer than that, though.
Yeah, it does. It goes on and on and on. Yeah, it was kind of goofy. I like the lead. I guess the wife and the mother and the sister-in-law all stayed in that apartment all the time. They didn't have jobs. I think they just watched TV. I don't quite get what was going on.
Well, that show was so good.
It was so good.
It was riveting.
Yeah, I was definitely clock watching this one. Like, let's get to it. I wanted to. The only thing I'll say is I did want to know what the hell was going on. I liked the idea that something big was going to happen, and then it would say continued, freeze frame continued, that typical, cliffhanger thing. But yeah, I mean, there's that scene where the doctor, they got him, they're at the end where, and we can give it away. It's 2009, so spoilers shouldn't be an issue, I don't think. But that scene where he locks himself in the room while the doctor goes over to the house and his friend is in the other room, and how they figure out, I mean, it's the way things got figured out that kind of just came out of nowhere. Like how he figured out the doctor. And I mean, I saw this a couple days ago, and I don't remember details about how things happened. And that tells me that it's just kind of a blur. But yeah, it wasn't the greatest horror. It's not really, I wouldn't call it a horror film. I'd call it more psychological. And the old guy with the dog, I thought that was going to lead to something other than the dog knowing what was going on. The whole bit with the camera and the foot inside and outside the doorway was sort of interesting. But,
and the distorted picture on the phone.
But it doesn't go anywhere. It didn't go anywhere. And anyway, yeah, it's kind of like I said, I saw it a couple days ago and I can't remember half of it. So
I saw it yesterday and can't remember it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this then. So you have said 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Are there different versions of this? Because the one I watched was specifically 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Was it?
And that was the one. I rented that off of Amazon because for some reason Hulu just didn't have subtitles. They had the movie, but they didn't have subtitles.
Well, there's 3 different versions of the movie. They're all basically the same. It's by language, and for the original was the Tamil, and then for like literally a couple of characters and scenes, they used different actors for a couple of characters that they then shot in Hindi and again in Telugu. So the 13B is it's the title of the movie, but it's the Tamil version, and then the Yavanam, I can't remember what it's called. That's I think the Tamil or the Hindi title, and then there's another different title for the Telugu version. It's all basically the same movie. I have no interest in watching all 3 of them to try to find the differences, but that is a language thing for different versions. But I'm not sure why, like if they shoot a scene with a couple of different actors and it takes 5 minutes, I don't know why a new version of it would take 2.5 minutes or 12 minutes, because they are different lengths, but I don't think there's anything different story.
I think with Ralph, it probably felt that long.
No, it definitely
did.
No,
Yeah,
for sure.
because it wasn't that long.
The version you watched, Chris, did it have the music video in the credit bed?
Yeah.
It did. Yeah.
Okay.
Sexy Mama.
The rap number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed.
I did too.
It was the most spirited part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny too because it has that woman. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the actress's name, or I should say the dancer's name. But all she really seems to do, or at least from what we've encountered her, and I'm sure she does a lot more than this. But a lot of times she seems to show up and do an amazing dance number. I'm not taking anything away.
They bring her in just for that.
Yeah, isn't she the one? What was the movie we watched a couple weeks ago? Was that Agneepath? Didn't she show up for like one scene where she does a dance number?
Is it the same woman?
With all the gangsters?
I could have
I know
sworn
who you're
it was-
talking about. I don't know if it's
She
the
was
same actress
also
or
in
not,
the
but same vibe.
Dune
for sure.
3, isn't?
No, that's Katrina Kaif.
Oh, okay.
That's
Maybe
not
I'm
her.
confused. Okay.
That's not her. I know her.
So it wasn't the woman playing his wife?
No, I don't think that was.
No,
the
it was
same
a different
actress.
one.
It was a dancer.
Although she was beautiful. His
Yeah,
wife was beautiful.
oh no, I mean
Mhm.
they're all beautiful, but
Yeah.
but so okay, so I'm with
And
you.
the kids were precocious. I mean, yeah, okay, it's all.
For me, where I really got annoyed with the camera movements and all the kind of crazy Dutch angles, there's a scene where he and his buddy, the policeman, and it's like, hey, the story's finally picking up some momentum, right? They go to see the doctor who knows all about ghosts and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, they're gonna go see the guy. I couldn't help but think of like the character that Tony Todd always seems to play in American horror movies, where like he's the mortician, or
He knows the rules. He knows all the rules.
the rules. He's the guy that knows, and the kids or whoever go to him, and he kind of gives them the rules and gives them the glimmer of hope that they can get out of. But in that scene, these guys are sitting, the camera's behind them, and for some reason it just keeps shaking back and forth. And it was like, for me, that was like,
Oh, that's right.
so
They do it
distracting.
every once in a while. They would do that, and it seemed there was no reason for that to happen.
it was so distracting that I was like, it really kind of annoyed me because I was like, I like the setup. Like you said, I like the setup. I like the idea. You move into this place. Maybe it's a little bit cursed. Oh, and a little side note to all of our viewers. Do do buildings in India have a 13th floor? Like here
Yeah,
in the Western, in the Western world, the 13th floor, number 13 is bad. So like literally, even though, you know, it's a modern building, it still won't have a 13th floor, which I think is actually kind of a fun little, you know, cultural thing, you know, quite honestly. You know, I don't think too many people really believe in it, but at the same time, I think it's a fun thing. You know, they don't have room 13s in hotels and stuff like that. Anyway, I don't know if that is a cultural thing here or if that is also something that is is understood that way in India, just like there's unlucky numbers in other cultures and things like that. So let us know in the comments if that 13 is an unlucky number. But I thought this movie like had a great setup. I thought it was an interesting idea. I just felt like it just plodded along, and it wasn't that suspenseful. I did like the hook at the end though, where it turned out to be the doctor and not the stalker, because I thought it was just gonna be the stalker, and it turned out not to be the stalker.
When you say the stalker, the old guy, who's the stalker?
No, the stalker was the guy in the middle of the movie. He goes on and on about how he loves the woman who's reading the news, and he's never met her, but he wants to marry her, and he would treat her so well.
Guy who killed himself.
Yeah, he ends up. We find out later that he kills himself, right? And it turns out that was the doctor's brother,
Right.
And then so the doctor is the one that decides that they all have to pay for what they did to his brother, which was kind of nice. But once again, it kind of comes out of nowhere at the very end. So once again, I think it's an interesting idea, nice setup. I just feel like it was what's the word I want to use?
Dumb.
Wasn't executed well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I think that not executed well is probably the right way to say it, because the idea of a story, a straight horror story that, along with the protagonist, it dislocates you and you don't know exactly what's real and what's happening. Some of my favorite horror things are like that Kevin Bacon movie, Stir of Echoes.
Oh, it's great.
Is genuinely creepy, and it's about a guy who witnesses things that are normal and then terrible, and then he doesn't know what's real and what's not real. Yeah. And it's not as extreme as like a Jacob's Ladder, although that's fun and stuff. But also there was a show called Channel Zero, which was on Sci-Fi, and each season was its own story. And there was all sorts of creepy stuff about reality and houses and televisions and all these things. And there's one scene in this movie that should have been like, okay, now we're being creepy, when he can't run past the second floor when he's trying to save his family. Like, what a great idea. And they did that all wrong. It's all the choices that they make. It has no tension. It's nothing scary. Toombad was like genuinely unsettling.
Yes, unsettling.
I didn't know. In that movie also, I remember, I think I said something like, I don't think I know what's going on for the first 35 minutes of this movie, but I stuck with it. I don't like to not finish movies, but this one never got anywhere near like speed, never mind anything that I liked. So it's all the choices that they made, I think, are just, they didn't work for me.
Yeah. All right, John, what do you got?
Well, I mean, listen, the angles and that stuff, that didn't bother me. I thought that, you know, there was 2 Twilight Zone episodes that this definitely was a ripoff of. There's one called What's in the Box, where William Demarest sees his life playing on a TV show, and it foretells stuff. And then there was an episode with William Shatner where he's at a diner and there's a little fortune machine, and every decision is based on what the fortune machine says. That's where I thought they were going with this. And, you know, I thought it was kind of goofy in the beginning. I mean, I like the fact that they started right away with the creepy stuff going on without any backstory, without any reason why it's happening. I kind of liked that. And I thought it was funny, you know, the elevator, he couldn't go up the elevator, it wouldn't take him.
Why only him, though? What was the...
Well, that's the thing. I think that they felt, again, who the hell knows, but it felt like he was the one that had to be the catalyst to go forward to right the wrong. That's who they chose.
Well, ultimately, he sees himself on the screen. As
that's right. Too. That's right. But I think because that's what they went through him. But for me, like you already said, Ralph, this is a 45-minute Black Mirror episode. It didn't need to be 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I think it would have been way more effective, because for me, I was like, I'm not going to say I was bored, but the first hour, once you realize there was a murder and they started talking about that, and then they're trying to discover that was the hook for me. And I enjoyed the second half of the movie way more than the first half of the movie, because it had a little more, I found it more interesting. The only thing that I thought was a cheat was the doctor they really played him off to not be the killer with his actions till the very end when he went nuts. And I thought that was a cheat because what was he blocking it? Was it all of a sudden, it was a memory that came up? Because the scene where Madhaven sees himself on the TV show with the hammer, and you're like, okay, that's kind of creepy. Like, is he going to kill his family? I mean, he's really worried about it. And then he's thinking about it. That's when he realizes, wait, there's someone else in the room. I liked that. And I thought that was kind of interesting. And when he wailed on the guy at the end, I mean, so the second half worked much better than the first half. But again, this could have been a 45-minute self-contained episode. It would have been much better than the length. Because at first, setting everything up, even the family was kind of sitcom-y, cartoony in the TV show. And then it got kind of serious. And then when they flash back with the inspector who inspected the original crime, that's when I started to get, okay, this is getting a little more interesting. And I thought Madhaven's reactions to everything that was happening to him, I thought he was very good in this. And he was from Three Idiots. That's what I saw him in. And another movie, I think it was Servignacci, where he played a military guy who gets killed. But he was really good in this. And I know it took him a long time to decide to do this film because he didn't quite get the script, but yeah, I know. So the second half much better than the first. But again, in fact, I watched another horror movie that was recommended by somebody, and I'm finding that a lot of these Indian films really aren't horror films. They are much more psychological and much to create tension. Like Tumbad. Well, that's the one that the ghost story, the one we saw, right, with the dolls.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, that was really creepy, and I found that really creepy. But a lot of the horror films aren't; they're just psychological and tense, which is okay. I'm okay with that, but I wouldn't classify this as a horror film. So that's my spin on that.
I think the movie maybe, and if I'm not reading this right, you guys let me know. I think it has aspirations to be The Ring, and that kind of like unsettling, very much with the real world, but what's normal things like a television, a videotape, all these things, they make things terrifying, except it's not terrifying. I mean, one of the best moments in The Ring is after spoiler alert, after she gets the girl's body out of the well and she tells her son and it's all over, and he's like, why did you let her out? Like, that's a movie that's creepy for like 2 hours and then it still punches you in the stomach. And this movie, when we finally started to see the murder, I was like, are they really going to have a disabled person performance like that? Like, that was a little much. It was a little cartoony. And I never for 1 second believed that, I don't know if I'm supposed to, that he killed his whole family.
Right.
But, then he's in a hospital, which is really a jail, and he's violent. Well, you would be too.
Right.
And I'm not sure what I'm supposed to take out of that. And then at the end of the movie, he lives with them. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. And also, I don't care. And that was the problem.
Okay, whoa. That's what happened at the end? That was the guy that was in the jail?
Yeah.
I
with
thought
his
that
lips,
was... Oh, right.
with his mouth
for
crooked.
some reason, because the brother got hit in the head with a hammer by the doctor.
Right.
And I thought that's what he became.
No.
Gotcha. No.
Because he says, hey, brother, how's everything going?
That's because they call
I understand.
everybody.
I've got brother, sister,
No, that
uncle,
was him.
aunt.
Because he was innocent.
Oh.
They had him locked up and he was innocent.
God. I thought that was his brother who got hit in the head
he got
with the
blood
hammer.
all over his clothes.
And I will tell you, the
hugging
two scenes that I
corpses,
liked that were tense was the one where the wife got blown up and where the other woman had the gas going on the stove and they had to get there before she lit it. I thought those were good scenes. Those were good scenes. But that was like I said, the second half of the movie. The setup just seemed, I don't know. Like you said, the TV was not a creepy thing. The picture on the phone, that was a little creepy, but there wasn't really a lot of creepy things happening to create horror. You know what I mean?
There's no atmosphere.
Yeah. So,
like
it's a really well-lit apartment too, which doesn't help with the creepiness. It's so bright in there.
And the red herring was the old guy with the dog too.
Well, that's who I thought was going to be the killer.
I thought he was going to have something to do.
Why is he hanging around?
Like he's not really blind or something?
No, he's blind, but he's.
No, I'm saying if he was the killer.
Yeah,
like it's just all deception.
And I liked Harry the dog. Ralph, you're a dog lover, right?
Harry was nice. I'm a dog lover. Yeah. So wow. Wow, I know I said we shouldn't love every movie we see, but holy cow.
I remember I watched this movie and I said to myself, Ralph is going to love this conversation because you've been a little bit, you guys are too easy on these movies.
Well, it's funny because Skyber even wrote that he hadn't seen this in a long time and was going to rewatch it. And I'd kind of like to know, Skyber, if you're watching this, do you feel the same way about it when you first saw it? Or you know, are we way off base here? I mean, because maybe the way we look at horror is different than the way India looks at horror. That could be. I mean, it could be a culture thing too. But it definitely, you know, it wasn't like a scary movie. Fear has a new address, and it's not 13B.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I haven't seen Stir of Echoes or The Ring in many years. I would totally revisit them. I don't know if I'd like them as much. I remember Stir of Echoes, I think, was in the shadow of The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
It felt like this is also creepy. It's really well done. It has a great cast, but it's more for adults.
Yeah.
And I mean, 13B is not for kids, but except for a couple of scenes, like trying to save the woman who left the gas on type of thing, it never really felt that serious. And this is a movie where people are murdered by a sledgehammer, and you know, it just never really.
You never felt that they were in danger till the end.
Right.
Yeah.
But we had no idea that
their
whole
faces morphed and all that stuff.
But that sitcom family, like I said, we had no hint that whole sitcom family got murdered at any point.
Well, that's right. But that was the point.
Well, but you have to wait almost 2 hours to get there. For
well,
that
you
mystery.
keep saying that. It wasn't 2 hours.
Okay, it felt and now that you mentioned Stir of Echoes, that was in one of my divorce decrees because I let my 6-year-old son watch that with me, and he's turned into a horror aficionado. He loves horror films, and that film was amazing.
So having them watch Clued at 5 was not a big deal?
No, I would not do that.
That's interesting.
Definitely Stir of Echoes. And I remember his mother walked in and goes, "What are you guys watching?" And Max goes, "There's a girl in the wall." So
spoilers.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a great film though. All right. Film. I guess anything else?
Wait, I want to hear how many Ledouxs.
Well, I want to first mention I love seeing that big fat television, number one. Flat screen, but huge on the back. And the phone, his phone he had looked, the Nokia.
The Nokia.
It was awesome because it was boxy. And, that was fun. But yeah, I'm going to say for me, two Ledouxs. I literally had to force myself to keep going because I did, like I said, the only thing I wanted to know is what the hell's with the TV?
Right.
What's going on? That's really all I cared about because they kept mentioning the curdling milk. So they knew from the get-go. They hinted that this place was haunted from the get-go. But, we learn everything in that back. Everything gets, wrapped up in the back. And I still thought that guy, the guy at the end, was the brother that got hit in the head with the
But I think it's great that the killer was into the paranormal. That worked out well, too.
Yeah. So, all right. Hey, what do you guys think? Review-wise.
I want to hear Drew.
I'm going to give it, I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to give it 2 Ledouxs as well. Like I said, I feel like they wasted what could be a really, I feel like they wasted a great setup. But I really did like that musical number at the end.
That was good.
Yeah, completely out of place for that.
Well, they dropped a musical number in the middle of this one too, right?
Well, that was for a sex scene.
Right.
Because they were doing the
They were talking about Kama Sutra 69. They were dropping all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Madhaven. Yeah.
Well, it's the Kama Sutra is the reason I'm going to give it half of a Ledou.
Wow.
Yeah. I did not care for this.
Well, you took
based on the Kama Sutra, which half?
Page 41.
Okay, so I'm going to give the first. I have to do it this way. I'm going to give the first half a 2, and then I'm going to give the second half a 3 because I did the second half definitely hooked me much more than the first half.
So what's that average? That's a 1.5,
2.5,
2.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll give it a 2.5 Ledouxs.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah. So Skyber, we didn't love it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, man.
But what are you going to do? C'est la vie.
Tumbad, fantastic. That's I don't know. I would not compare. I wouldn't say that this one is like that one at all.
No.
Well, I mean, they're both horror movies.
Well, that's the only thing.
Yeah, I mean, the same way that, Halloween is a horror movie and so is Evil Dead Rise, and they're very different, even though they're both about murder. So it's okay that it's different. But I mean, any movie that uses that much crazy camera work reminds me of one of the greatest bad movies of all time, which is Battlefield Earth.
Oh,
this movie was trying.
No,
this movie didn't come out.
That would get no Ledouxs.
I don't think that anybody I don't think the people who made 13B didn't care.
Yeah, but Chris is right. Like that scene where because I remember it now. They go in the hall and the camera just starts like earthquaking.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I guess, hey, we just made a point. There's something creepy going on here. Let's.
Yeah, the movie told you how to feel all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know I'm supposed to feel that. I don't feel that, but that doesn't make me.
Yeah,
know.
that
that
stuff
doesn't
never.
help,
I mean, that never bothered me. None of that stuff bothered me.
Really?
I guess.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, it took me out of it a lot.
Yeah.
Good camera work, good editing, you don't feel. Bad camera work, bad editing. I mean, it just takes everything away.
Yeah.
So, bad directing, good directing. You know, I go on
So
and on.
thanks.
So-
Anyway,
Okay. All right. So we'll spin for the next viewer suggestion.
is the sequel 14B or 13C? I don't care. I'm going to find out.
13B. We get evicted.
All right. Well, there's our wheel. Let's see. My name is Khan. Which one is that? My name is Khan. Is that?
That's the
got
one with
all the
Shah Rukh
Khans in it?
Khan
Oh, okay.
after 9/11.
Oh,
Trance.
yeah. It's going to be trance then. Oh.
Oh. Indianan. Okay, that's a 2005 Tamil film. So 5 people are going to be really excited about that one.
Who gave it to us?
Ramakrishan K.
Okay.
It's
We'll read the
another
description.
thriller.
It's on Amazon, but you got to pay for it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's the good news about the last one. It was only $1.99 to rent
Yeah.
that one. Like I said in our text, worth every cent, but that's it. It was
And it's
You
a
could have
short
owned it
sales
for
pitch, too.
$4.99. but
It's
I
a short
decided not
sales
to.
pitch. This one's a short sales pitch.
What do you mean? A show? Oh, really?
So yeah, so that'll be
Don't,
nice.
Okay, don't tell
Yeah,
us. I want to know
so-
after. So, all right.
Listen, we might as well tell these guys. So a lot of people have said part of the reason we're not getting a lot of views is because we suck. Well, they didn't say it like that. But maybe our name is too long, so we're debating changing the name. Ralph, what'd you come up with? I actually thought it was pretty funny.
I said bad. What's
No,
the
you said boring
boring
ass
dudes.
dudes.
Boring ass dudes. Bad.
bad.
We're bad.
I don't know. If you got a
but-
better idea, shorter.
We can't. I mean, we got
Throw it
to
in the comments
We
section.
can't change the YouTube channel. I can't
No.
go through all that. So
But
I
you-
don't know.
You can change the way they get there with the
We
name,
could
right?
change the
Yeah.
search, I guess.
Yeah. So
You know,
we got to
You
debate
could type
that.
in bad and still get to our Yippee-Ki-Yay. Is my
Right.
point.
They
But-
also talk about trailer reaction. So I'm going to try something on the 10-ish minute review show where I do a trailer reaction and I do it in 30-second snippets and see if that prevents the copyright. Because that's the reason why Ralph and I have done a few of them and we get whacked on half of them. Like any current film that comes out, we try to do one and we get a copyright hit. Last thing I'm going to say, I'm going to the theater tomorrow to see Tiger 3. Which
Ooh.
starring Salman Khan. And I just watched the first 2 and I've become a big Salman Khan fan too, but I'm really big action, like Fast and Furious type stuff. I'm really looking forward to seeing it in the movie theater. So I'll do a 10-ish minute review on that and an instant reaction as I leave the theater. So
Oh, I totally forgot. So I learned something about Deepika Padukone, who was Padukone from Piku.
yeah.
We know her from Padmavat and other things, but I was looking at her filmography, and she was in a film called Triple X: The Return of Xander Cage, starring Vin Diesel. So I haven't seen that one. I have seen the first 2, and I haven't gotten around to seeing
Obviously,
the
you
new
didn't
one.
watch our show because we brought
No,
it up. We
but
brought
did
that
you
up during
see-
the show.
But did you see the transformation? There's a
No,
motorcycle that turns into a jet ski.
in that movie.
In
I swear to
Xander?
God.
Oh,
Yeah, I
really?
swear to
So
God.
they
That's
stole
why-
it from Doom 3. Sons of
I
bitches.
don't know. I don't know who owns
took it from who?
But I started laughing really loudly. So no, you guys didn't mention that. I wanted to make sure if we want to do an episode on Triple X: The Return of Xander Cage, we could do it on the Indian show because of her.
Piku got a lot of hits, a lot of views on that one. People like
It's a
that
good movie.
Yes, I know. It was very good.
It was really good.
With Big
Sorry, I
B,
missed that one.
Big Buck Chan. I look just like him.
You do. Put the glasses on and that bucket hat.
Well, I hope your emotion is good.
You're constipated all the time. So, all right. Well, and they also just don't like our banter. I don't understand. It seems
You know what?
it seems so charming.
Yeah, 2 people don't like the banter. And a lot of people defend us too and say they love the banter. So you know
Two
what?
people. That's like 14% of the audience.
It
so
is
we
what it
gotta make
is.
Sure,
Hey, listen, on the other show it'd be half. So you know
That's
what I mean?
that is true.
All right, everybody. Listen, have a good week. Again, thoughts for Sean and Debbie all the time,
Yeah,
of course.
always.
Hopefully, well, we'll know. Who knows when that
Yep.
he may come back. But yeah, so Have a good week. And what's the name of the film we're going to see? Anna what?
Aniana?
Anian.
Anian.
Anian. Yeah, Anian.
Okay. How long is it? Does it say on there?
It doesn't. I didn't
I
put
think it's 6 hours.
Sorry, Ralph.
I got to check.
Next time.
It is. Hold on, I can tell you.
Yeah.
How you spell
Why you
it?
need
It's
more
2
battery life?
hours.
You need
2
more
hours
battery
and
life for your
37
phone.
minutes.
237?
Yep.
Will your battery last on the phone?
I don't watch those on the phone. Not the whole thing.
Liar!
Not the whole
Liar!
thing. Not the whole thing.
It's hard to read the subtitles when he's driving, John.
Exactly.
All right, everybody. Have a good week. And
All right, Ralphie.
we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Yeah.